king, I am not a god, I am Humpday.
What's good, Tano? I hope you enjoyed the gameplay of Equinox Nuke Day Forma against level 9199 Steel Path enemies in Warframe. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, and let me know in the comment below what you think about this Warframe. Let's go. As always, Tano, before I build my weapons and Warframes, I rely on my method called the DVS. D how I be dealing damage, V how I proc viral, S how I strip enemies armor. If you don't like my methods, you can always check the sheet right here. It can help you maneuver around them to find your own style. Now, Tano, every time you want to build a weapon or a Warframe, I highly recommend you head to Warframe Wiki and you start reading all the stuff that the game doesn't tell you. I hope one day DE just like copy this and paste it on each ability in the game so new Thanos can learn within the game and veterans can improve their builds according to Wiki, because that's where you can get all the information you need about the Warframe or the weapon. And now Equinox is a very complicated Warframe for a lot of Thanos, so I decided to take it in a different way rather than just building her like it's supposed to. So what I did is I separated her forms from day form to night form, so you don't get confused. So this time we're building her for day form, which most Thanos would be interested in, because the day form is the one that you can nuke even level cap with, and since something can nuke, Warframe Thanos get interested. Now we will build her for nuke level cap. That's the build I'm sharing with you today. Next time we're gonna build her for night level cap, and it is more defensive style. So think about it like day form is more offensive and night form is more defensive. So that's how you go. And then in the future, if you really want, guys, and since you're already prepared at that point and know how to build her on day and night for level cap, we can make a hybrid night and day build for her. Let's go to her kit. And as always, we take beginners friendly approach, explaining Equinox kit for Thanos trying to learn about her, since she is a very complicated Warframe for a lot of Thanos, but I'll try to do my best and make it as easy as possible for you. Now, her passive, 10% health orbs converted into energy and 10% energy orbs are converted into health. Works like Equilibrium, and in fact, the passive called Equilibrium, if we head to Warframe Wiki, since DE doesn't have this information in-game. Now, when Equinox collect health orbs and energy, blah blah blah, we know that. Equinox passive stacks additively with Equilibrium to 120%. Additive and multiplicative, you need to learn about it because multiplicative is always superior. Additive is normal, like 1 plus 1. Similar to that, but in easier math for you to understand. Now, allows for the pickup of orbs while the associated resource pool is full for the purpose of conversion. The effect of arcane pulls do not apply to health from converted energy orbs. The effect of arcane energize and energy pulls not apply to energy from converted health orbs. Works in Arcwing missions. Also, there is extra passive in here, which is day form, night form. Now, there is the day form and night form. Easy to understand. Day form is offensive. Night form is defensive. But if you want to start your mission or wherever you go with day form, you want to go and change the emissives. Okay, so we just head back to the game real quick and we go to our emissive appearances and we change the first emissive right here. Now we are in day form right there. Now if I switch this one to darker color, I'll become night form. So always my Equinox will start with night form. Now depends on which form you want. You just change the first one, the first emissive right here from white, for example, to black, and that's it. Like white for light, dark for night. Simple as that. Now, if we go to this first ability, Metamorphosis. This is where a lot of Thanos gets confused because this ability, it is actually 2 Equinoxes. 1 night Equinox and 1 day Equinox in one Equinox. In the meaning of, when you start the mission like I was explaining, and you are in day Equinox, day form, and you tap this ability, you'll become night form. And that leads to changing these 3 abilities because she technically has 6 abilities. Like without calculating the metamorphosis. If we calculate the metamorphosis, there are like 7 abilities, but just take it away for a second. So we get 3 abilities on each form, so 6 total. And that's where things get complicated, but I promise you, Tano, you will understand it after watching this video like never before. So, Metamorphosis. When you are in day form, you get damage multiplier and speed increase. When you are in night form, you get shield capacity and armor. If you can't tell the difference, when you switch between them, you will get more shield every time. For example, right now I know I am on day form because my shield is 370. Now if I switch to night form, I am 520. See, now I know automatically based on my shield increase that I am on night form. Okay, easy to understand, but it works like a buff in a way, so you need to keep that in mind. For example, if I switch, here we go, and you'll see here metamorphosis as a buff right here. Increase weapon damage and movement speed after switching day. Increase armor and shields after switching night form. So you get the point here. So now I am in day form, now switching to night form, and there you go. As you can see, the abilities are changing as well. Okay, but again, the game doesn't tell you a lot of things. If we scroll all the way, okay, so on day form, the weapon gain is actually additive with the base damage of weapons, and also doesn't work on melee weapons. That's very important. And the movement speed is additive. On the night form, the shields is additive on Equinox, and so on. Now, it got an augment. Let's check it in game, actually would be better. Alright, the augment called Duality. Equinox other half breaks free for 10 seconds, dealing with 300% damage. So, of course, you want to use a weapon that is really good. So, let's equip the augment Duality right here. And now, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna summon some enemies. Let's say, for example, I wanted to use the Acarios. So, I just tap the first ability, and she will break free, and she will start hitting them with the Acarios. There you go. It is really powerful, it is really good, and I like it. But, you know, this is for another time and another build, and you will love it when I make a build about it in time. Okay? Everything in time is good. Also, if we pay attention to Duality right here on first ability, it has duration. So the duration is affected by your duration. That's 19 seconds. So the more duration you have, the longer your spectre will stay, and it will help a lot with your missions. Alright, so moving on to the second ability, Rest and Rage. Now, Rest and Rage, on day form you get damage vulnerability, means enemies will be vulnerable to more damage. The game doesn't really explain it much there. Speed increase, and wake up health threshold. Now, this gets you really confused. But if we head to wiki really quick, and we scroll all the way, Rest and Rage. Now, on night form, affected enemies are forced to sleep. They automatically wake up, the duration expires, their health reaches certain level with the correct value. They are exception to health damage multiplier, blah blah blah. But the point is, when you are in night, okay, you put enemies to sleep, okay? To sleep. So this will help you like to scan for Simares, a lot of things. You can use this in a lot of ways. Amazing CC, all that kind of things. So remember this. Night, put them to sleep on second ability. On day form, you make enemies damage vulnerable, adds multiplicatively to the original damage that affected enemy would receive from intensify, blah 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 blah, and makes enemies more vulnerable to damage, and also the increase of speed and movement speed and attack speed bonuses and so on. Now, if we head back to the game and we would see the damage vulnerability, all you have to do is just you tap on the enemy and you can see that effect right there. Okay, so it's like he's more vulnerable to damage. I hope they put us like some icon where we can actually see better that like debuff or something. I prefer like when you make them vulnerable to damage, you receive it as a buff instead of just like that. So it got an augment called Calm and Frenzy. Killing an affected enemy causes the effect to spread to enemies within 5 meters for 100% of the remaining duration. It's easy to understand, right? Now, the Pacify Provoke. In night form, reduce damage inflicted by nearby enemies. In day form, increase ability strength of nearby allies. Now, on day form is easy. When you activate it, you get strength, but you will lose energy per ability cast. On night form, you lose energy per enemy, and you get damage multiplier. Now, if we look at wiki, because it's very important to understand what is this going on night form, Night Equinox clipping aura that affect all enemy within range, reducing their damage up to certain point. So you see the damage multiplier is not dealing to them more damage, is actually reducing their damage. You see that the game gets you confused a lot in there. Now, when we go to day form, we'll see Day Equinox emits empowering aura that grants Equinox an ally Warframe with range and additional ability strength. Provoke is active, blah 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 blah. Now, ability strength bonus cannot exceed 50% unless peaceful provocation, which is the augment, is equipped. Okay, so that's something you need to learn and understand. So let's check it out really quick. So if I hit the third ability and I am on day form, okay, I will get the ability strength increase, which is this one, 20%. I cannot exceed 50% unless I'm equipping the augment. Now, if I go to night form, Let me see really quick. I have wiki on. So if I go back to day form and boom, there you go, I get the 20%. If I activate the night form, of course I lose that buff right there, and then I hit those enemies, they deal less damage. Okay, you can see the ability is channeling a ability, and I'm losing energy per enemy. Okay, that's why I said day form and night form. I don't think it was convenient for me to build them as a mix, as it's not gonna be good. It's gonna get super confusing. Now, Equinox 4th ability, Mend and Maim, and this is where all the titles are interested in for the nuking and all that kind of things. I'll make it easy for you. On day form, you will collect certain amount of damage. When you release it or you deactivate the ability or you switch the forms, it will detonate and kill all enemies, depends on how much damage you collected. On night form, that collection is going towards the health and shields, and you get shields per kill. Okay, easy to understand. Now, if we go to wiki, there is more actually to it. First things let's start with day Equinox emits a lasering aura that deals slash damage with 100% static chance and stagger all enemies within range. Maim accumulates 75% of damage dealt to killed enemies shield and health while are within the aura as slash damage. Upon deactivating Maim, all stored damage is released in a violent burst that affects all enemies within range. So if you have the day active and you collected, let's say, 10 million damage and you change to night, it will detonate and deal damage to all enemies within area. Can kill them, cannot, depends on the level of the enemies. On night form, Night Equinox emits regenerative aura that grants shield per enemy kills within range. Equinox and her allies inside the aura Mend accumulates 75% of damage dealt killed enemies shield and health while they are within the aura radius. Upon deactivating Mend or switching the forms, all stored hit points are evenly distributed to the shields and health of Equinox and her allies within range. Okay, simple and easy to understand. It's not really hard. When you have day active, you collect damage. When you deactivate it or change form, boom. When you have night form active, you hit the enemies, you get shields, and when you deactivate it, boom, you get health and shields. Easy to understand. Now, it got an augmenta called the energy transfer. Now, the problem with this, if you are playing a defensive Equinox in night form and you collect a lot of that power, and when you switch to day, you're gonna lose it because you was in defensive mode and you wanted to nuke with the offensive mode. You lose it. That's where comes this amazing augment energy transfer. Mend and Maim augment 100% of charge is conserved when switching between forms. Now this works amazing on a hybrid style Equinox. So if you're playing Equinox in hybrid style, this augment is a must have. Now let me show you what this augment is and how powerful it is. So I am right in day form, as I told you, the shield is your indicator. Activating the night form now and activating the 4th ability, and now I'll be collecting some of the stuff right there on Mend. Alright, let's kill those guys. Boom, 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 boom. I collected 3 million, let's say 5 million, and so on and so on and so on. Now, if I want to switch to day form to nuke these guys, look what happens. I lose it. Okay, and same will do for you when you go from day to night. So when you equip the energy one, which is right there, energy transfer, okay, what happens is, let's assume I am on night form again. All right, let's deal some damage to these guys. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get ourselves some 4th ability active. Now we got 2 million, 5 million, 4 million. Boom, 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 boom. And now I am on night form. If I switch to day form, you see that? I kept the 5, the 6. I kept the 6 million. All right. Now if I'm switching from, let me summon more enemies. Now if I switch back from day to night, see that? I kept my 8 million. The point of this is simply made to be able to play Equinox on night form, because on day form Equinox is really squishy. So the idea is you are on let's say night form, okay, and when you switch to day form to nuke the enemies, okay, you are collected enough damage to just do like this. 1 2, 3. Boom. See? So you collect enough damage from the night form as it's your defensive mode, and you go back to night form, to day form without losing all that damage, and then you nuke those enemies, and then you go back to your let's say night form, the defensive form. Simple as that. So the way to play Equinox is rather simple, but if you plan on using the metamorphosis and you want to play day and night together as probably Equinox, the way to play it is you must have the energy transfer augment in there, hands down. If you don't have the augment, it will be a waste of your time and you'll be like spamming buttons and you don't know what to do. So if you stay first on the night, you always start in the night form. Okay, you start on night form, you have extra shield capacity, and you have the extra armor. Now, you hit the first ability on enemies, you put them to sleep. You hit the third ability in here to make enemies, let's say, deal less damage to you. And then you got the fourth ability active. So what's going to happen is you start collecting all that damage. Plus you get all your shield and shield per kill and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And then what you do is you transfer back to day form, and then you buff yourself with you hit the enemies with more damage vulnerability from the second ability, and you get speed increase. And then you buff yourself with the third ability to get some strength, and then you execute with the fourth ability to deal all that damage instantly and one shot the enemies. Let me show you. So now I'll be on night form. Now on night form, like this, I know it because I have a high shield, for example, and I can see the abilities how they look like. Now hitting those guys, I'll be collecting my men if I have the fourth ability active. So make the first ability always active. Now there we go. Now of course second ability and third ability always active to ensure that enemies deal less damage to me and they're put to sleep. There you go. Okay, but make sure that you keep an eye on your energy, because your energy is your enemy. Because if the energy is off, okay, if energy is off, that means your fourth ability will detonate, and we don't want that. So we took these guys off. So what we have 8 million, let's say 9 million in there. So now we're going to switch to day form, to the offensive. Tap first ability. Now second ability, third ability, we got our strength, and now we detonate with the fourth ability. 1, 2, 3, pop. Okay, so that's how you play Equinox, and then you move back to the let's say night form defensive. You do the same thing and repeat. So you go night form, activate the fourth ability, second ability, third ability, do a lot of damage. Go day form, activate second ability, third ability, fourth ability, boom, kill them all. Go back night form, let's see, second ability, fourth ability, collect enough damage, go day form, third ability, fourth ability, boom, everything is dead, go back. Okay, so stay night form, collect enough damage, go day form, detonate, happy nuking Tano. And so to avoid that confusion of day form, night form, all that, I decided to take a different approach. Instead of building her night and day with the augment, I decided to build her day only, and then I will build her night only, and then I will build her finally on a hybrid, where a lot of Thanos may like that style of confusion, night, day, day, night, and switching between the forms, to play her in the ultimate correct form, which is the hardest form you can play her, because it requires a lot of attention to your energy and what you're actually doing. So starting first with the archon shards, I'll be running 2 violet archon shards. They stack additively with the passive, so 20-20, and I have 20-20, 40-40, so we will have, let's say, like 50%, something like that, health conversion. It's gonna be good. Now, the 2 archon shards in here, I left them empty, because if I put 2 emerald archon shards for corrosive in here, you would misunderstand what's going on, because the helmet ability I'll be using. So maybe in the next video I will have 2 emerald archon shards in here, because we will be in night form with different helmet ability. Okay, maybe it's gonna be the same helmet ability. We don't know that for sure. Now let's go for the build of the day. Brief respite. On ability cast, squad converts 150% of energy spent to shields, while other shields are inactive. You need to learn something about shield getting in Warframe and why it is really, really good. First, we take things to level cap, because enemy scales based on their EHP based on level. So they have more health, more shield, more overguard. So that's an amazing opportunity for us to test our damage output. And also they scale on their damage output, so it will test our survivability. But in Warframe, DE doesn't want to make Warframe scale on EHP, for example, the Warframe shields, the Warframe health based on enemy's level. So that comes in handy. The damage reduction and your health and armor become useless as enemies scales higher in damage. So even with 99% damage reduction, you will be dead. So due to low EHP, we have to shield gate. Now, in Warframe, not like any other game, when you receive a fatal blow, you don't die, you lose your shield, you enter gate phase, you become vulnerable. For certain duration depends on how much shields you have. The shield gating is simply, you do something about it before the shield gate and vulnerability finish, and enemies get access to your health, and you're dead. You don't want that. So, the way to get back shields without, let's say, letting the invulnerability duration finish is by using helmet abilities, like for example Pillage, Condemn, blah blah, or you can use her fourth ability, you can use brief respite mode, and so on. There you go. Now, premature footed is not necessary only if you're playing on the end game, because their damage is so high and you don't want to be down in the ground and they're just going to be one-shotting you, especially if you're dealing, for example, with Shock Eximos at level cap, you'll be dead, you don't even need to stand up. If you fall down in front of Shock Eximos without premature footed equipped, I mean, press X, you're already dead. Okay, so if you don't like it, you can use Handspring. And please DE put this mod in Baroqueteer so everybody can use it and have fun with it. Otherwise, if you're not playing end game, you're playing low to mid game, use whatever you want in here, it doesn't really matter. Catalyzing shields for lowering our shields and getting 1.33 full shield gate immunity. Calm and Frenzy is the augment we're using, since the first ability is the one we removed for a helmet. Now, killing an affected enemy causes the effect to spread to enemies within 5 meters for 100% of the remaining duration, which is right about, hold on, Pacific Unbroke, and we got it right here. Now, the ability that we're gonna go for is the damage vulnerability. We'll make enemies vulnerable to more damage. Now, of course, we don't have enough strength, so if you really want, you can take it off, but 20% damage and vulnerability to meta weapons is really powerful and amazing, and I want that. Now, Overextend for ability range and ability strength, Streamline for efficiency, Rolling Guard for bad situations, Stretch for range, Flow for energy max, Continuity for duration. Just speaking of Climb and Frenzy, if you play low to mid game, you can equip Blunt Range in here and you fixed your strength, so you can get more 70% damage vulnerability and you can get speed increase, and you have 75% efficiency, but efficiency is your enemy on Equinox. I don't want that. Now, Arcane Energize for energy, Arcane Aegis, if you receive damage to your shields, it is the only way with the Grimoire techniques to regenerate shields while you are taking damage. Because in Warframe, a lot of Thanos doesn't know that when you're taking damage in your shields, you can't regenerate shields. And that's why they say, oh, why my shield regenerating build fails? Because Arcane Energies is not active that time. You can't regenerate shields where you're taking damage. Also, if you lose all your shields, you need 4 seconds to start regenerating. If you lose some of your shields, you need 1 second to start regenerating. That's where comes Arcane Aegis or the Grimoire techniques. Methods where you can regenerate shields while you're taking damage, so technically you are immortal for that 12 seconds of their proc. Now, the helmet ability you'll be using is Smite. Now, Smite is beautiful because Smite will armor strip enemies from their armor and will take down Overguard no matter what level they are, and you don't even need to mod it for strength. The strength will be nice because you're gonna get that additional damage on that area of 14 meters, and it has an amazing range. You can hit enemies from miles away, 117 meters range. Really good good stuff. So when it comes to my companion, I'm using Nautilus. This is the build. Tenacious Bond for critical damage, Enforced Bond for fire rate, and so on. Tenacious Bond, you can activate it only if you have your Sentient with 50% critical chance. Now, for Virglas, the best Sentient weapon, you need Virglas Riven. If you don't have Virglas Riven, you can use Primed Razor Rifle or Vorklock. You can get the 50% without that. So, let's summon some heavy corrupted gunners. There you go. And activating the fourth ability. Before activating the fourth ability, which is dead. Okay, so activate the fourth ability. Second ability. Okay, now if I hit him with Smite, his armor stripped, right? There you go. There you go. Collecting our damage. There we go. 5 million. So we'll be stripping. And we'll be stripping and we'll be taking them down like that. So for example, if we summon some Thrax. Let's summon one Thrax. Right here, and then I will hit him with first ability and then fourth ability, and he's dead. And we're not joking around at all, but make sure that they don't have Overguard That's very, very important to know. And that's pretty much how you play her on day form. Very easy. Now, shield gating will come in handy in here because her fourth ability and her third ability is, let's say, channeling abilities, and you don't want to activate, deactivate them most of the time. Maybe the third ability you can, but the fourth one you don't want to do that really. The gating will be from smite, so really has a very nice casting speed, and the second ability, but you always need nearby enemies. Now, of course, you can go for evade to go invisible, you can go for quiver to go invisible. I didn't want to go that path because you already know it's going to be easy and it's not going to be hard, but it's going to be very, very powerful because you will be invisible and you will be taking them out. Maybe in the future videos we can do that, and we'll see how that works for us. Now, my take on her day form, that she can nuke anything on her fourth ability. There is no doubt in there. She's a very, very powerful Warframe, but I wanted to break her day alone and night alone, and then in the finale I will do a hybrid build for her, so you Tanu can pick up the style you want. You want a day form to nuke, you want a night form as a defense to put enemies to sleep and so on, or you want a hybrid build between the two, and then you can decide which style you really want to go for, and I will leave that decision for you. So if you find this video helpful in any way, hit the like, sub, comment. Nobody's perfect. I do my best to deliver for you guys the best builds. A special thanks to Hall of members, special VIPs, and this video donator, Hall of Donation, everyone in my community. Like, sub, join my Discord, link in the description, follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.